Hello, how are you today? It's so good to be here and to get to make cards with you today. I'm just very excited to share with you. Just going to wait for a minute and see if we have anyone jump on. I'm going to share my video. Hold on just a moment. Well, I'm having trouble typing. Okay. All right. Oh, good. We do have Fran is here and Tina. Two Tinas. So glad to have you here. I'm sorry I'm getting a slow start. I'm going to show you a few cards. I'm going to have a Christmas card class, and I am going to have it available by mail as well as in person. So I want to show you the cards that we're going to make. And we are making four different designs and 3 of each. So it's a total of 12 cards with envelopes. And the cost of the class is $30 for the 12 cards. I'm having it in person here at my home in Conover, North Carolina on Saturday the 23rd at 10 or Sunday the 24th at 1. And I only have one spot left for both of those days. I have a limit of 8. That's how many I can fit and feel like we're all safe. I don't know what the protocol or how things will be going with COVID by that time in October. If things are still bad and someone wants us to wear our mask, we will. So if you're in person, please come with a mask, willing to wear it. For those in person, I will also have homemade soup and brownies available. If you are going to get the class by mail, I am going to make a video for each card showing you how to put the supplies in your kit together. Now, by Stampin' Up rules, we cannot send you stamped images. So you would have to either have the sets that we're using, or there are things that you can substitute easily on these cards. I can send you the embossed images. I can send you something that is punched or cut out with dies. I just can't send you a stamped image. For shipping, we will add $5 to the class, so your total would be $35, and I will take PayPal for that. So I'm going to post the information for this class on my Facebook page, and I'll have that available after the class. I'll post all of the what's and wherefores and all that. Signing up for mail, you'll need to send me an email by the 15th of October so I can make sure I have enough supplies for everybody. So today we're going to be doing a Latch fold. This was a new fold for me. I'm feeling like I've forgotten something, but we'll see as we go along. This is the first card we're going to work on. We're going to try to get 2 in. Thank you, Donna. We're going to try to get 2 cards in this afternoon. I got this fold from Leanne Griff, Flower Bugs. Oh, I can't remember, but anyway, you can look up Leanne Griff. And she made this using trees. And it was a gorgeous card. She'd made that about, it was in just after the new annual catalog came out. So you might look and see, or search for Latch card in Pinterest, and her card will probably come up. So this is the one we're going to make. I'm using the Love of Leaves stamp set. I really do love leaves, and it took every bit of control I had not to get the leaf that is out this year. You just can't have everything, or I can't have everything. And I love these leaves. I didn't bring in the stitched leaves that go with this, but they are just wonderful. So don't forget that our annual catalog has some really, really great stuff in it. I'm also going to be using Quiet Meadow, and that's this part right here. So let's get started with our stamping, and I'll also tell you the parts. Now, I'm going to show you the first card that I made using this fold, and it's pretty, but when I looked at it, I thought, it just doesn't have everything it needs. It's just not that great. Hi, Donna. Hi, Teresa. So I thought what it needs is some speckles. And that's where I found the speckles, is in the Quiet Meadow. Because we're also using this sentiment right here, thinking of you, on our card. Carol, glad to have you. Glad you could catch me live today. So anyway, we're not going to be using the cutouts, but this is the stitched leaves. I just decided that the stamping maybe worked a little bit better. But let's go ahead and find my pieces. And I'm going to take the one that was okay, but not that great away. And I will have a post up on Friday on my blog at lovetocreate.typepad.com, and it will have all of the measurements on there. Hey, Teresa. All of the measurements on there. Let me tell you that, never known for my gracefulness. Let me tell you that this is 5.5 by 6.5. And then we still scored at 4 1/4. So it's really just a regular card front with 2 inches cut off of that front part. And I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish that. So that's our regular card base. And then we have an insert. This is the size that Leanne Greff used. And this is 3 1/4 by 3 1/2, and on the 3 1/4 inch side, we did a score at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and just burnish that as well. So we have these 2 parts, and this is Cajun Craze that I'm using today for the card. And then we have not basic white, that is, and I don't know, I've gotten on this little thin border thing lately, so this is actually 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We have a piece of basic white to fit here, and that is, I have it written down, that is 2 5/8 by 3 3/8. And then we have a long piece that's going to fit right here, and this is 2 1/8 by 5 3/8. But again, hi Debbie. Again, I'm going to have this up on Friday, and it will have all of the measurements on there. I'll talk through a few of the directions, and then I'll have the video on there. I'm also using the layering circles. And this is not the complete set. I've pulled something out for the Christmas card class I'm planning. So I have used this one, although I don't think it's the second largest. It could be the third. And then I've also used this one for the inside. Of course, you could use other labels that we have for this as well. So let me put that aside, and we're going to go ahead and start our stamping. So I'm going to put the Cajun Craze pieces to the side, and I'll have, this is the inside of the card. This is the little piece that will go right here, and then this is the piece that goes down through here. One thing that I was noticing as I put this card together is that, you know, there's a lot that's hidden, and the latch part is this. It kind of goes back behind the circle and hooks closed this way, and that's why it is called a latch card. All right, and crooked, very crooked. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So anyway, I noticed that even though I've got the Cajun Craze for my base, you can't really see any of the Cajun Craze on my card. So I think I need to think about placement a little bit better and make sure that some of my Cajun Craze is showing. Otherwise, wouldn't the Mary Merlot be pretty as the outline for that? I probably would have liked that better. I'm not a big Cajun Craze fan. So I'm going to pull in my inks. We're going to use quite a few. We're going to use Cajun Craze. And I'm just going to line up my stamps with the color that I'm going to use. This is Bumblebee, and I was going to use that one. And then we have Old Olive, and I was going to use this leaf with that. It's almost not enough working spaces. Or here's my Mary Merlot. And you know what? For this card, I'm going to change out and use the larger leaf with Cajun Craze, so maybe it will show up more. And then we're going to be using some soft suede when we get ready for the dots. But I'll set that aside for now. And maybe I'll put those to the side here, and I'm going to push those off a little bit more. And we'll get ready to do our stamping. So I'm going to ink this first one up in the Cajun Craze, making it a little bit more dominant as a color since that's the base that I have. And I'll do one there. I'll do a big one coming up from here. And then I do want to have a little bit of decoration on the inside because you're going to be able to see that. So I am going to do a few things with that. Hi Faith, good to have you here. I'm excited to have so many people watching today. That's great. Okay, I may come back in and need some of that in a little bit, but we'll go ahead and work with our Bumblebee. So I'm just going to do one that kind of comes this way. And we'll do one that comes around here. And then we want to have some on the inside of our card. So I think I'm just going to put it about right there. Maybe one up here near the top. Okay. I'm going to set that over to the side and get a little bit more room. And we'll do our Old Olive. So I want an Old Olive down here. I'm going to put a little bit of that here. We'll do one coming up from the bottom of the card there. Oh, I've got a smudge there, I see. And I think that I'll use that on our circle. Again, I like that on there, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. All right, and then we'll do the Mary Merlot. And we probably need to put one in there to cover up that smudge a little bit. And I'll put maybe another one there. And then these need a little bit of the Merlot. We'll just kind of turn it around here. Now, what's going to happen is that, now let me show you what I just did. Do you see those lines right there? I've gotten some paint, my goodness, some ink, hi Patty, around the edges of my stamp, and that's what happened, that I got those lines right there. So you really need to kind of pay attention and look, and have something close by, a Kleenex or a paper towel or something, that you can get that off before you stamp. Okay, so that's a do as I say, not a do as I did. All right, I'm going to go ahead then and pull in. I think that we might be all right with these, so let me close them up. And I'm going to pat myself on the back for not getting a stamp in the wrong color. It happens. And I see I'm getting ink all over my hands. All right, so I'm going to pull in the speckles from the Quiet Meadow and my soft suede, and we're just going to go ahead and add some of those speckles to the card. And I know that it's mostly would be on the leaves, but that's okay with me if it goes off. I just kind of like the way that looks, and I just kind of like to turn this around and come at it from different directions, although I'm not sure anyone could really tell. I know about it, so we'll do that. And we'll add some more here. Don't you think that just adds a lot more interest to the card? We'll do some here. Thank you, Patty. I'm glad you like the colors. I'm trying to do some fall type things today, as well as the fold that we're going to do. So there we go with that. And I'm going to pull in my saying, and we'll work on that. I'm going to use the Cajun Craze for that. And this saying is from the Quiet Meadow stamp set, where we got the dots. And it says, heartfelt love and caring thoughts are with you. You know, there's a lot of people that could use a card that has just that kind of thing on it nowadays. Now, notice in the sample that I showed you how crooked that is. And I was in a hurry, I will admit, when I was stamping that. But let's talk about how to maybe get our saying a little bit straighter. Now, I used to go to a class before I became a demonstrator. I went to a class, and the lady always did her sayings catacornered like this. And she said that she did that because she never had to worry if they were straight or not. So I was telling some people in a class that yesterday, and oh, I'm going to start doing that. So we'll see if they do. But I don't want to have mine catacornered all the time. I want to have it straight. So I've got it on there, and what I'm doing is I'm stamping it. I'm looking at the edge of my stamp, and I'm trying to see and trying to make that straight. So you can see it isn't. So what I can do is I can take it off and straighten it up, or when I stamp it, I could pull this side down just a little bit, which I think is what I'm going to try to do, and we'll see. So that's about straight, so I'm going to pull it down just a little bit, and I think that worked okay. So use your grid paper to help you with your placement on things. Okay, and then what I'm going to do now is add some Wink of Stella to the card because it needs a little bit of shimmer and shine. So what I'm going to do is, hold on just a moment, I'm going to bring in another piece of paper because I get a bit messy. I don't know about you guys, but I do. So I'm going to get my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to just kind of hit it on my paper like that. Let me get a little bit out there. And so I'm just going to kind of hit that on my paper. I'm finding that it's coming out behind me a little bit more. So let me work on that. You can see I do make a mess with that. Other people seem to do it without all that mess. Okay, so I've got some of the Wink of Stella on there. And I find that it needs to dry just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is set this card aside and work on the next card. And then I think by the time we finish that, this will be dry enough that it won't smear. So we will pull in this card back in at the end. And the next card that we're going to make has a little bit different measurement to it. And first of all, I want to show you, well, let me show you the card. This is it. And again, it's going to latch behind our saying like that. And for it, I'm going to be using this Designer Series paper. I believe the name of it is Beauty of the Earth. And I have a few smaller pieces here. This is the one we're using today. Let me just show you. I'm about to use it all. And then we'll flip it over and let you see the other side of this. So this could almost be a winter scene. We always love the wood. And then look how pretty a card that would make. And then this. So those are the papers in Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. And let's talk about this one. So I used the very same measurement for this part of the card, and I will have that on my post on Friday. It was 5.5, actually the 5.5's this way, by 6.5, and scored at your regular 4 1/4. But I decided to make this part a little bit larger. Let me bring in this one and show it to you. See how much larger I made that? And I determined my size by the size of this tree. I wanted it to kind of fit that. So I ended up with the measurements for this one. The extra piece is 3.5 by 4.5. And then on the 3.5 inch side, so 3.5 by 4.5. And then on this 3.5 inch side, I scored it at 1/2 inch. So let me pull that piece out and show you that we have, this is the regular 6.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then this is the piece that I cut at 3.5 by 4.5. And then on the 3.5 inch side, I scored that at 1/2 inch. And we'll take our bone folder and burnish that, and I'll also burnish this. Okay, so I determined the size by the size of the tree and wanting to have the tree on my card. Okay. So this piece is cut the same size from the other card, 2 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then this piece I cut to fit here. And the base that I'm using for this is Early Espresso. Okay? All right. And so let me talk about the trees for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and glue this to the front of this card. Let me find my glue. And then I used the tree from the beautiful, I'm sorry, I'm reaching. Let me do this first so I don't end up with glue everywhere. Okay. All right. And so I used, this is the tree, the die that I used for this. And it came from the Beautiful Trees dies. And this also coordinates with that Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. Now on the back of my paper, I'm using 2 trees for this, but on the back of my paper, before I cut it out of the cardstock, the Early Espresso cardstock, I put on some of the adhesive sheets on the back. This makes the tree turn into a sticker, and it's just so much easier to adhere. So I'm going to take this larger piece that will fit here a little bit better. I just wanted you to see how that worked, and I just ran that through my emboss and die cut machine, and we'll take off the backing, and we'll be ready to put our tree on. I probably had a better experience by pulling the tree out of this, and we'll do that with the next one so you can see the difference. That might make, actually, there we go. So I've got most of the tree out. Let me get that little section away and this little section out. And then we've got a couple little places that we need to remove our backing. It really isn't hard. Sometimes I just make it look harder than it has to. And then we've got a few little places here. We'll get all this off. Okay, so I'm ready to add my tree here to the card. And I want to kind of center it. And I want my tree trunk even with my designer paper right here. So there we have this piece. Okay. Now, what you need to do to attach your latch is adhere it to the inside of the card. So I made this one a birthday card. This saying that I have on the outside is from a stamp set that I really haven't used very much. I need to get it out and use it. It's called Inspired Thoughts. And I used this part. It's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. I really feel like that's a saying that people today need. And then I thought on the inside, I would just put this big birthday thing. So we'll do that next. And then I'll show you how to attach all of those pieces for this fold. So I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. Get that out of the way. I feel like I've got too many things around. But I'll pull out my Stamparatus. And I'm going to put this is cut at, and it's a little bit wasteful, but I told you I have like these tiny borders nowadays. And so it's at 4 1/8 and 5 3/8. If you want to conserve your paper, cut it at 4 by 5 1/4, because that's going to get you more pieces per 12 by 12 sheet. And I'm going to just put some magnets there. I'm going to get Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to get another ink pad from a while ago and just put it under here to give me a little more sturdier stamping area. And we'll stamp that in the center of the card. Now, when I open the card, or when I have the card closed, you will see some of this blue paper. And I tried to put my saying down low enough that you wouldn't see part of the saying there. Okay, and I'm going to do another one and get that good and dark. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. I'm going to turn this the other way, and we're going to go ahead and stamp the circle. And I have it put on so it stamps right there, and I'm going to try to just place that circle. What I should have done is when I did the other one, I should have traced around the circle a little bit. But I didn't do that, so I'm trying to get this to where I think it will be centered on those sayings. I think that's pretty close. And of course I can turn it just a tad to make sure that it is straight on the card. So let me ink that up. And to get that to show, I think we're going to have to ink it a couple of times. And I can see I got a line down there. Usually that's not a problem. But I guess I pushed too hard down there. Okay, I think that'll be fine. And excuse my line for today. Maybe we can think of something to put there. All right, so I'm going to bring in my base and my flap, or my latch. And the latch is going to go underneath this paper. And I decided what I wanted to do is kind of put the same amount of space between the two. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue here. You could probably also use some tear and tape. Move some of that out of the way. And I'm going to put that, okay, about like that. And then we'll add this to the inside of the card. And that will give us our latch for that. And I think I may have just gotten my hair in the camera. If I did, sorry about that. Okay, so there you can see how that goes. Okay, and I have it so that the words do not show. Now, I am not a person who writes a lot inside of a card. I think if I've taken all this time to make it, they should appreciate it, and I shouldn't have to write a bunch of stuff too. And I know that's a weird, probably a weird way of looking at that, but it's my way. So I didn't use as quite a wide a piece of the Early Espresso to cut out this part because it's more narrow. So I still use the adhesive sheet on the back. So I was just kind of going to go ahead and pull this out from the side here. So now we've got the tree, and we'll see if you think it's a little easier to get these the adhesive off of it this way. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, so I've got just a tiny bit down here at the bottom, and that may be a lot easier to get some of this off. It still has little pieces here and there. The adhesive sheet, let me finish getting this off and I'll show you, has actually little sections in it, and that is to help you get some of this backing off a little easier. It's there to be helpful, but on a little piece of tree, maybe not so much. Okay. And I can tell you this really does stick. It's stuck to my fingers. And then one little piece here. Okay. And so I'm going to stick this down here at the bottom. Put my tree trunk in the center. Now see, I've got a piece of cardstock in there. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and put that down. All right, and then I'm going to come back with my scissors and just cut this extra off like that. And then we'll get the extra off of this side. That way it fits perfectly on our paper. And I'm trying to get some of this off of my fingers. Okay, now on this card, I took my scissors, on our original card, I took my scissors and cut around the tree and then added some sky right there. So I'm thinking, do I want to do that for this one? Or do I want and leave it like this? Or do I want to have a sky again? Does anybody have an idea on what you think would be better? I could do either because I've got my blue here. Let me see if anybody will comment on that. I know it takes a few minutes for comments, so I'll wait just a minute. Okay. Keep the DSP as is. I will do that, Elaine. And that way you can see the difference in the two. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue here. And we'll glue that to this section. Okay, thank you. All right, so now we have our pieces that will look like this, and we're ready to do our words. Now, if I had all the cutting things in here, I would redo this wood piece because I've got this line right here. And later, what I'll probably do is cut out some kind of little leaf or something and put it there to hide that. Or maybe just some linen thread would be, a nice linen thread bow would be a good thing to put right there. So I'm going to add it right in here. And what I'm going to use is dimensionals for this. And I see I'm here at the end of my rope on the dimensionals. So I'm going to add a little row of this outside right here, right in here. And let me lay that down straight as I can. And I'm just going to cut some of this and put it down through there. Now, of course, you can use just real dimensionals. Well, these are real, but anyway. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this a little bit open, or not open, but I'm going to feel the latch, and I'm going to feel when that comes right up onto the latch, my dimensionals, and then I'm going to pull it back just a little bit right there. So it's really only stuck right here. So when I close it, it will go under that way. So that one is finished, and we'll pull back the other. So here are the two, the one that I kind of cut around the tree. I think you're right. I think I like this one better, not being cut. Okay, what do you think? Okay, thanks. So I'm going to put these aside and bring back in the ones that I put the Wink of Stella on. And let me just pull all of this off of this old paper. And we'll put it together. Okay. So on this piece, we're going to have this come in. So I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on there. And this, I don't know, I just feel like that might still be a little wet, so I'm going to just turn it that way. All right, now remember for our inside, we're going to latch this behind our inside. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue here. Okay. I usually keep a little pin here. This is getting low, and of course you don't want to throw it away while it still has some glue in there. So that's probably a little bit more than I need. When I taught school, our art teacher used to tell the kids that a drop of glue would hold an elephant to the wall as a deterrent. I don't know if you could use that in a class or not. Okay, so we've got that on, and we'll glue this to here, and this time we're going to glue it a little bit lower. Remember, this one is smaller than what we used on the other card, so I think there is a good spot. So I'm going to add glue to the flap, and we'll put that about there. And then we'll glue this in. Okay, so it'll go right there. And I still feel like I've got some sparkle back here, so I think maybe some of that. I was a little heavy with the Wink of Stella, so I still think a little of that is still maybe not as dry as it could be. All right, and then we have our leaf that we did before. So I'm just going to glue that to our base. And then I'm going to pull in. just a little 1/2 inch strip that you would have left over from cutting some paper. And our sentiment from the Quiet Meadow. And we'll do that in, okay, and Faith, I'm so glad you're watching. So I will do that. Hopefully, let me stand up. Hopefully I'll get it kind of straight. Let me try one more, and we'll pick the best of the two. Ah, that's a little bit better, even though I rocked that and I was afraid it would come out with a line. Okay, let me bring in the one that we've already done, and I'm just going to clip this here. And to do my little notch, I'm sure most of you know this trick. I'm a little bit, just go in from the center and then cut from the corner up, and from the other corner and then we'll just add this with a little bit of glue. Okay, and I did go a little bit too far with my glue. I want to rub that. And I don't have one of the erasers in here, but I'll get that and erase some of that glue off of there. And then we are going to have a ribbon. Did I bring the ribbon? Yes, I did. Let me tie. I use a bow tire because I'm not one of those that can just tie a ribbon. And we'll see. Maybe this ribbon would look good on that other card. Okay, and I will get a glue dot to put that on. And we'll just put it right in there. Let's clip our ends. Okay, so we're ready to do the dimensionals with that. Oops, sorry for moving everything. And let me lay that, and I want to make that about right in there. I'm trying to see if I don't have, oh yes, I do have some other ends of dimensionals. So we'll just finish up this side, throw that away, and we're going to put a little row. I think I'll put the straight edge facing toward where the latch will go. I think that'll make it a lot easier. And let me get the scissors, and we'll cut just a little bit more of that. Maybe I cut too much. Okay, I'll just put that back on there. And we'll take that off. And then what I'm going to do is kind of feel to when I get to that, and maybe have it a little crooked, and then I'm going to pull out just a tad and do that, and then there's my latch. So when I open it, there's my card, and then I put that under there, and that latches it shut. So these are the cards that we made today. And let's see, do you think one of these, looking for my ribbon, would one of those bows? I don't think there's really enough yellow in that to do a bow from that. But what I'm going to do is get my linen thread and make a nice little bow right there. Okay, you're going to make them today. Thank you, Kathy. Great. I'll have, like I said, I'll have my post up on Friday, and all of the dimensions will be there for you then. Maybe, let's see, I do have it on Post-it notes. I don't know if you can see. These are not real quick, but these are the measurements for the first card that I did, this one with the stamping. And then for the second card with the tree, these were the measurements that I used. If it makes sense to you, you're welcome to copy that down quickly. Let's see, do I have it where you can see? Something's just popped up. Okay, well, there you go. There are my cards. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too discombobulated for you, that I made sense. And I thank you so much for joining me. Oh, I didn't add one last thing. You know, you've got to forget something. With the matte decorative dots, I added a few to this card. I don't know if I really needed them or not. I don't know if you can actually see them, but I did add just a couple of those. I'll finish the green out of here. And then maybe I'll put one on here. We'll just do 3 since that's all I had in that pack. Okay? Very good. Can you see that? That tape. Okay. Thanks so much. I'm going to let you go. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate you watching so much. Thanks, Tina, Kathy, all of you that joined today. I just appreciate it so very much. I'll go back and look at the comments, Debbie, and answer you in just a few minutes. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. If you need any supplies, you may find my links to my online store at lovetocreate.typepad.com, and I really would appreciate your business. Thanks again. Bye-bye.